Well, hello everyone, and welcome back. I'm Ron.
I'm Dave O'Leary.
And who are we?
Two guys talking.
We're just two guys talking, and Lord knows we might be able to talk about anything. So
Right.
Please stand by. I don't know what we're going to be talking about today. Maybe I do. But before we go there, what should they do, Dave?
They should like, share, and subscribe.
And comment down below.
Yes.
We're doing battle with that YouTube algorithm, and we want to reach more people. So you can help us by liking, sharing, and subscribing, and that will help us rise up in the listing, and more people might be able to see us, and then perhaps what we're doing and things that we're saying will be a benefit to those individuals as well.
Right.
So I've got another question for you, Dave.
What's that, Ron?
Why am I wearing this silly hat?
Well, Ron, after you made some fun of me after the last episode, you've been put in the penalty box.
Oh, jeez. He's put me in the penalty box, and he's got his Hulk hands to keep me there. Oh, great. I knew I shouldn't have done that, but you know, sometimes I just can't help myself. So enough of that silliness, and I will commit to wear the hat since I'm in the penalty box.
Right.
So what are we going to talk about? What would you suggest?
Well, Ron, I understand that you've been to a lot of concerts in your life.
I've been to a few, maybe 60, 70. I'd have to check with Miss Boomer back there because she's got a listing.
It's a lot.
60, 70. And it probably started when we were 15, 16 years old.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. A lot of interesting bands come through. I mean, we saw Grand Funk Railroad,
Wow.
Styx, Lynyrd Skynyrd,
Nice.
Emerson, Lake and Palmer. We saw, gosh, others. I mean, it was just Kiss,
Rolling
Black
Stones.
Oak, Arkansas. We didn't get to see the
The
Stones.
Stones.
I don't think our town was big
Wow.
enough to handle the Rolling Stones.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
You know, but would have loved to. We've seen McCartney, and just a lot of wonderful, great names, great artists, a lot of good memories too, and
Right.
perhaps some that would like to forget.
Well, in your adventures in going to these concerts, tell me, Ron, did you encounter some strange things going on?
You know, we were good kids, and we would always sit in the back of the arena up in like the second level so we could see
Right.
the full, what do you call that? Panoramic
Panorama. Right.
view. And we didn't want to miss anything because a lot of these bands were very theatric, and there'd
Yes.
be, you know, fireworks, there'd be dinosaurs
Laser
coming up under the drum set with Godzilla.
Right.
You know, it's just lots of things like that. But there's one thing that did stick out, and I'd like to preface before we get into it by just saying, Dave, have you ever made a promise you couldn't keep?
Yeah, I'm afraid so. It's been a few times.
A few times? Well, we don't really want to go into that, I don't think, but maybe you're next, right?
Right.
Yeah, and the scenario that I'm thinking out that actually happened, we made some promises, a promise to some very dear people in our lives, people that we highly respect.
Right.
And unfortunately, we made a promise we couldn't keep. And that really perhaps is the nutshell of what I'm about to relate to you. Now, I do have permission from my cousin to share this with you, my cousin Tanya, right? Because I talked to her, I said, sometime I'm going to put you on the channel. And she said, yes, that's okay. So my wife and I, she wasn't my wife at the time, we were getting ready. We bought tickets to go to see Lynyrd Skynyrd. And it must have been 74, 75, sometime around that time frame. And it was she and I and a lot of our friends. And I think it was my brother-in-law at the time as well. He was planning on going with us. But something came up, and he couldn't make it. So we had this one extra ticket. And it just so happened that on that weekend, my aunt and uncle came up with my cousin Tanya. My Aunt Dane and Uncle Leroy came up to visit us at our house. And so that day we're getting ready to go to the concert, and we asked my aunt and uncle, we said, can we take Tanya to the concert with us? Right. Now, in the 70s, perhaps rock and roll didn't have as good a name as it has today. I don't know. There's some people at that time thought it was. I think it has a pretty good name, right?
Right.
But some people maybe perhaps still don't think of it as something good to listen to. Right. But I highly respected my aunt and uncle. They're just wonderful people, great influences in my life.
I understand.
And they were pillars of the community and pillars of the church.
Right.
So we're saying, can we take Tanya to the concert? She would love to see Lynyrd Skynyrd, and there's a warm-up band. And so they really, thought about it pretty seriously. And then my uncle looks at me, he says, okay, but you got to promise me one thing.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, what do you think that was? Now, my cousin is 6-7 years younger than we are, I think.
Wow.
And Tanya, I'm so sorry.
Keep her out of trouble.
Yeah.
Keep her out of trouble.
Maybe, but what he did say was, if you promise that you'll not let her see anything that she shouldn't see.
Right.
All right. So they kind of knew something about concerts, I suppose. Right. Yeah. And of course, we all said, yes, we promise. We will protect her. We will make sure she does not see anything she shouldn't see.
You never know. They might have been to some.
Well, Lynyrd Skynyrd was famous for drinking whiskey on the stage, right? That's not a real good role model for young ladies coming up, that sort of thing.
They might have been to some pretty wild bluegrass.
Maybe, right? And then, of course, there's that funky weed stuff that they smoked at the concert, and they'd smoke it on stage. I don't know how they got away with it, right?
Right.
What?
The wacky tobacco.
The wacky tobacco, or whatever else they called it. And when anybody lit something like that up, you could smell it a mile away.
Right.
But anyway, we didn't share that with them, but they said, yes, she can go. So we were great. Well, we were just very ecstatic. We're taking our young cousin out to a cultural event.
Super cool.
Yeah. Lynyrd Skynyrd.
I love Lynyrd Skynyrd.
Yeah, Free Bird.
Right.
You think
Simple
about
Man.
that. Simple Man, Sweet Home Alabama. Oh, Simple Man. It was like, the more you listen to it.
Song on the charts, I'm sure.
Yeah. So, their whole repertoire was going to be played. We were sure of that. Right. And, of course, they didn't disappoint. But do you recall, I'm just asking, right? Do you recall what was going around in the environment around 73, 74, 75-ish?
Well, this is really close to, not too far off of Woodstock. So.
Well, yeah, Woodstock was in the 60s, right?
Right.
Yeah. So, Woodstock kind of set the scenes culturally for the counterculture, I should say.
Counterculture, a lot of the rock and roll bands performed there.
But this is something that even you could see out in the country, in the country malls. Mm-hmm. Does that ring a bell? How about this title of this song? It's a country and western song. Don't look, Ethel. You remember that?
No, actually I don't. But
Ray
Stevens, because I was thinking about It's Me Again, Margaret.
Yeah. Well, Ray Stevens wrote a song about streaking.
Oh yes.
Streaking.
Now I understand.
And we would just shake our head when we'd hear about it. Who in their right mind would take their clothes off and streak up and down the mall or down the street or across the ball field? But people thought it was the thing to do at that time.
Right.
And it was kind of crazy. So we were all innocent and everything. We went out to have a good dinner, and then we drove up to the Coliseum, and everybody was just kind of walking up, and the evening was cool, and you could hear people talking about the expectations of the concert. And so we were really excited about it. And of course, the first concert that my cousin Tanya had ever been to.
Right.
So we go in and we get our seats, and we tell her, this is where we sit. And if you need to go to the restroom or you need to go to the concession, we'll go with you, because we were going to live up to that commitment, that promise we made.
Right. So you're going to make sure that she was protected at all times.
Protected, taken care of, didn't see anything, wasn't exposed to anything, that sort of thing. We took that very seriously.
Right.
But remember, I started this by saying, don't make promises you can't keep.
Right.
Right. You know where this is headed, right?
I have a suspicion.
So I suppose it was about maybe a third to a half way through, maybe even toward the end of the concert. I'd have to speak to Miss Boomer. She's back in her other office over there to get a real read on when it occurred. But this guy jumps up on the stage, and he was literally no clothes on. And he runs across the stage. And if that wasn't bad enough, he comes back to center stage and just stops there in front of Ronnie Van Zant.
He kind of stole the show at that point.
He stole something. And we're saying to our cousin, Tanya, don't look. And the thing that was going through my mind was, oh my Lord, we're going to have to tell my Aunt Dean and my Uncle Leroy. And this is not going to be good, because we made a commitment, and we highly respected our aunt and uncle. They were just really good people, and you never wanted to disappoint them.
Right.
And so, the cops came up and they took him off the stage, and it was over with. And we went through the rest of the concert without event.
Right.
Had a good time. We bought the T-shirts, right?
Do you still have that T-shirt?
No, we wore them so much, we wore them out.
Right.
My Black Oak T-shirts are gone. My Lynyrd Skynyrd T-shirts are gone. Emerson, Lake and Palmer, they're gone. I mean, on and on, I could just say. But that was kind of our dress code back then.
You have quite a collection now if you still had them all.
Yeah, they'd probably be worth a pretty penny, wouldn't they be? Yeah. Based on that memorabilia. But we're coming out of the Coliseum. What do you think we're talking to our cousin about?
About being quiet to your Aunt and Uncle.
Bingo!
And not saying anything so she doesn't, blow it.
Yes. We told our cousin Tanya, she's a sweet, sweet girl, and still is, by the way. Hey, Tanya, if you're saying this, we think of you often. This is Dave, our good friend. So he's hearing this story for the first time.
Right.
So we're telling her, look, Tanya, if you tell your mom and dad what you saw, you'll never go to another concert, right?
Right.
She goes, yeah. I'm not going to tell them. So we're good with that, right?
Right.
One, we wanted her to go to other concerts with us.
She knows that she says anything that her parents would probably frown on that. And say that's it. You're not going again. Right.
Yeah. And so 2 reasons why we wanted her to come with us to other concerts, right? Because it was a fun time. We enjoyed being around our cousin. And the other thing is we really didn't want to disappoint my aunt and uncle.
Right.
So she said, yeah, she wouldn't say a word. Now, we're like 17 something. She's got to be, I don't know, 12, 13 something. Maybe we're 18 something. But anyway, we get to the house. And we pull up, and we're very excited about, Tanya telling her mom and dad about the concert, what a good time she had. Right. So we didn't get a chance to really open the door like normal people walk in the door. She busts through the door, and the first thing she says, guess what we saw? We saw a streaker. I thought about turning and going right back out the door.
What?
Yeah, guess what? And my aunt and uncle, my uncle just kind of looks at me like, you made me a promise, right? Yeah.
What I tell you?
And I was so, he wasn't being mean or anything. I was just so concerned because we had disappointed them.
Right.
We had let them down.
Right.
We had made them a promise that we couldn't keep because I didn't have control over the 20,000 or however many people were in that concert. And I should have known better. So I suppose that's kind of the lesson of this story, right? is when somebody wants you to make a commitment or a promise, and as part of carrying out that commitment, you have to remain silent. The thing I would say is, don't make the commitment if you can't remain silent, right? Because you hear people always they come up to you, hey, I want to tell you something, but don't tell it to anybody else.
Right. Famous last words.
There's members in our family that you tell them and it's going to be all over the place. Right? Do you have anybody like that in your family?
Yeah. It's like, hey, if you want everybody to know, just say, tell so-and-so and say, it's a secret.
That's the magic potion. It's a secret.
It's a secret.
Yeah, and that's the motivation for them to go and tell it, right? Yeah.
Because they have to share. They have this this built up inside themselves.
They want to share and embrace
and,
everybody and let them know
hey,
how
they've
special.
got something special to be able to tell you. Right.
So
it's your cousin.
Yeah, but you know,
in the doorway.
She didn't. She was just a young teenager. I mean, a preteen.
No malice involved.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't about her doing that. I mean, you know, we forgave her immediately.
She was excited.
She was excited. She wanted to share.
Out of the ordinary.
Yeah, but it was our commitment to my aunt and uncle that we would take care of her and not let her see anything that she shouldn't see.
Right.
And had I thought critically and lonely, I'll get back to you. My co-pilot over here, Riley, is talking up. Had I thought long and critical about that, I would have said, well, I would love for her to go, but you know, sometimes people do stupid things and you have no control over them.
Right.
Had I just done a little more thinking about it, but the greatest problem that I had was that I disappointed, or the greatest pain that I had was that I disappointed my aunt and uncle. Now, it would be interesting to know in your past, has anything similar, I'm not talking about streaking or anything like that, but has anything similar to you and your family happened where, you know, you were told something in confidence and you made a commitment to remain, not you or somebody else made a commitment to remain silent, but they didn't? Now, you don't have to name names or anything like that. It just, has it occurred? Is it something that every family experiences?
Oh, absolutely. I believe so, that there are times that in your life where you make a genuine commitment to keep a secret, if it might be a secret or some other promise that you're going to do something, be somewhere at a certain point in time,
but you don't,
and somehow you don't.
Right.
Whether, you know, it could be something as simple as, you know, you're going somewhere and somebody hits you. You know, you
got hit today.
I got hit today.
Dave was driving his truck over to the house for us to do this episode, and he got hit by another car. Thankfully, everything is okay.
Right.
Minor damage.
Yep, just a bumper.
Yeah. He was a little late because normally he comes over about 6:30, and he was coming a little late because of the accident.
Right.
But you know, that wasn't kind of like what we're talking about. But I mean, if you fully intend to meet the commitment, I mean, we fully intended to meet that commitment, as naive as we were about what we didn't have control of. You know, I would just say it's best to say to the person that is trying to get this commitment that you don't believe you're going to be able to keep. I just believe it's a good thing to say, I don't know how I can keep that. Other things could happen that would prevent me from keeping it. Right?
Right. Absolutely.
It'd be interesting to see or to hear from our audience. Have you experienced anything like that? And what did you do? What's your thoughts on breaking a commitment that you fully intended to meet, and there was some consequences, maybe hurt feelings or disappointments or whatever the case may be?
Right.
So I think the little bell went off, David. What else do we need to say? Everything's going to be wrapped up in a nice, neat little bow.
Right.
I don't know how we do that with this story, but you know, my cousin did get to enjoy the one concert that I was aware of.
Right.
I need to ask her.
Go back?
I need to ask her that. Did she ever go to another concert? She probably did, but I'll have to ask her that.
And
I will
for many years.
Yeah, I will
Right.
follow up on the next episode, perhaps, with the answer to that question. Okay. So, with that, I think we're going to wrap this episode up, Dave.
Yep.
So, what should we do?
We should. We would like you to like, share, and subscribe.
And if you can, please leave a comment down below. No thumbs down. Leave a comment down below. Thumbs up, right? And we'll see you in the next episode. So take care. You're always on our mind, and all the best.
Thank you.